Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Paul Kelly. We have just watched the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith weigh-in. Paul, just interested to get your reaction to the weigh-in. Obviously, we're just over 24 hours away from the fight happening now. Both fighters made weight. Both fighters came in at 159 pounds, so under the middleweight limit. But yeah, what's your immediate reaction to what we've just seen?
Yeah, it was a good win. I really enjoyed the stare down. Neither man wanted to blink, neither man wanted to move. So it was quite. I was no pushing and shoving, but it was very intense. You could tell. I think it was an enjoyable way in to watch from that perspective. I know sometimes we want the Derek Chisora flipping tables and all and or whatever at press conferences and weigh-ins. We want a bit of that. There wasn't any of that, but no, it was a good way. It was intriguing. I thought. I'm sure we'll come on to how we think they looked and stuff, but I thought both men looked good on the scales.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to the fight now. I'm glad that all of the pre-fight weigh-ins, press conference all done now. It's just ready. Time to
yeah,
go now, really.
absolutely must watch. So as we said, both fighters came in at 159. There were some comments from Johnny Nelson on Sky Sports saying that he thought Eubank looked just a bit gaunt, maybe than he usually does. Obviously, Eubank came in at 159, so he came in a pound under. Was wearing boxer shorts, was wearing the armband that he was wearing as well. Um, what did you think of Eubank's appearance compared to previous weigh-ins?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Johnny Nelson to be honest. I think he looked just as good as he ever does on the scales, really. Obviously we saw that photo when he was meant to be fighting Conor Ben of him
Mm,
coming in and still weighing in, and he didn't look great there. But I mean, for me, he's always been and I think George Grove said in reply to Johnny Nelson, he said, he's always looked very
yeah,
slim. He doesn't really carry any body fat at ever, even when he's out of camp. So he's naturally quite a skinny and muscular guy. But yeah, no, I don't think he looked bad personally. Some people might disagree, and if you do, sure, tell me in the comments. But
give him some stick.
no,
Yeah,
I didn't think he. I don't think he looked bad at all. To be honest with you, I thought he looked good. Obviously, he's 33, so
mm,
naturally it's going to be harder to make weight as you get older. But I don't think he looked like he struggled by any stretch of the imagination.
yeah. Obviously, Eubanks he had that stint at super middleweight, but he's been making middleweight for a long time. So I think, as you said, like eventually it does get harder, but at the same time, Eubank he is a middleweight. Like I don't really want to see him fight at super middleweight again, personally, just because as you saw in the George Groves fight, actually fought at super middleweight, and then by the time the two of them got in the ring on fight night, there was quite a big difference in size there. Um, Liam Smith came in at 159 as well, as we know. He spent most of his career at light middleweight. Um, Worth mentioning, I think, with Liam Smith that his last fight was actually at middleweight. That's I feel like a lot of people haven't really touched on in this whole situation. Liam Smith, world champion at light welterweight, but his last fight in September of last year against Hassan Mwakinyo in Liverpool, yeah, he did come in at middleweight there. So he has actually been more of a middleweight than a light middleweight in the last few months. Thoughts on his appearance, Paul?
Yeah, I think he just kind of looked how you would expect him to look. Obviously, don't know whether it's just because he's getting older as well, whether he thought that the move to middleweight was a good idea. Maybe he just thinks there's bigger fights out there for him. And on paper, I think a lot of people of us have in our head that when the two stand side by side, height wise, that Eubank's going to be a lot bigger, but that wasn't really the case. Eubank was a wee bit taller, but like when they were facing off, it was almost eye to eye, nose to nose, mouth to mouth. It was all like they were nearly almost the same size. So I don't think height wise it's going to be. I don't think height wise there's a massive huge difference there, but it's just what you said earlier about Eubank fighting at super middleweight and middleweight. I think he will. I don't think he blew up at all, but he is just naturally the bigger guy. Like if Liam Smith even put on a few more, he'll probably only put on a few pounds.
Mm,
Um, whereas you could see Eubank putting on, I don't know what, 10 pounds maybe.
yeah, that's
Um, if that which on the fight, then he'll be. I could see him being about half a stone, maybe heavier than Smith on the night. Which, but then again, he might not. Um, I think it. I think that Liam Smith looked good on the scales, about as good as he could. But then you could also tell. that he had fought before. Like he wasn't as shredded as
Mm,
Chris Eubank, but then not a lot of people are, I suppose.
no, no, that's true. I think what will be interesting post fight will be if Liam Smith does fight on, whether he wins or loses, if he does go back to light middleweight and how easy he makes light middleweight, just because Liam Smith's been pro a long time. He's been making that weight for a long time. Will he continue to campaign at middleweight after tomorrow night? But yeah, that's not that important now because we've got a big fight in our hands. Sorry to do this to you, Paul, but we are gonna do predictions now. Everyone I've spoken to this week, a lot of people are refusing to make a prediction. A lot of people are changing their mind. But I think now, we've had the press conference, the weigh-in, analysis, chat back and forth in WhatsApp groups. What is your final prediction ahead of tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'll give you a definitive prediction. Mine hasn't changed. I've kind of been thinking this the whole time, and I'm still going with Eubank on points.
Okay.
I think Eubank will win on points. I think the way he fought against Liam Williams, and three of his last five fights have gone the distance, and he's won by unanimous decision. I could see that probably happening again because Liam Smith is tough, only being knocked out by Canelo. He's
Mm.
obviously been up at light heavyweight and all recently, and is kind of freakish power for his size as well. So, I could see Liam Smith. I think it can go in the distance. I think it'll be close enough, not complete. Not a 11-1, 10-2, but I think Eubank. I think he'll be a conclusive winner. So I could see my tip would be, or unanimous decision for Chris Eubank Jr. What
Good
about
stuff.
you?
No nonsense from Paul. I agree with your prediction. I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna give you bank points, but I'll change my mind throughout the week. However, I know we always usually do our betting show. I know you were on holiday this week. If we were talking about betting tips and betting odds, I'm going to put money on Smith to win on points, which I think is 7-2 last time I checked. I think those odds are too good to turn down. So yes, to confirm, if I had to give a prediction, Eubank points. However, I just think that that's very good value for Smith to win. I would say I'm kind of like 60% sure that Eubank will win on points. But yeah, it's such a tight one. It's a really tight one. I think that when it comes down to it, if Eubank beats Liam Smith, that's Eubank's best win by a distance, in my opinion. And I just think that's kind of the key here when it comes down to it. Eubank hasn't beaten great fighters. De Gale, Abraham, both way past their best, in my opinion. So Eubank's best win is arguably Liam Williams, which might sound crazy to some people, but he's lost to great fighters. But his best win, in my opinion, is Liam Williams. So we'll see. But there's so much to unravel. But I respect you for giving a definitive prediction.
Yeah, I think I don't. I think the Gale's his best win. I think he might have been over the hill, but it's all well and good saying that. I suppose after the fight, we might be coming back next week saying Eubanks beat Smith relatively handily, and we're going, oh no, Smith's 34, he was a wee bit past it. So we'll see, I suppose. But I still think if Eubank does win, I still rate the James DeGale one probably a little bit higher.
Fantastic. Okay, Paul, thank you for your time. Thank you for your opinions as always. Looking forward to this one. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith tomorrow night. And yeah, I'll catch up with you then. Cheers, Paul.
It's top man. Cheers.